Hello. 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 Can you guys hear me? Hold on for a sec, guys. I don't know if you can hear me or not. All right. Can you guys hear me? I'm going to hear myself. Can you guys hear me or anything? All right. Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. At least somebody can hear me. All right, though. Again, haven't used this mic in a while, but yeah, welcome to this topics on my mind for June 1st, the 1st of June, 2020. Yes, topics on my mind for June 1st, 2020. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about. But first of all, I'm pretty sure you're wondering, okay, why are you doing a live stream right now? It's about 10:17 a.m. Pacific time. Why are you doing a live stream? And it's quite simple. A couple of days ago, I did a video where I told you I had opportunities coming up this week. The week that I am off, yes, I am off this week. Believe it or not, I am off. So that's a good thing. I am off this week. The reason I am off this week basically is because I asked for it. I asked for it off a little bit. Long story short, just moving the filter there for a second. Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, basically, as I mentioned before, I've been working almost nonstop for the past several weeks, if not the past month. My schedule constantly changes, is what it does. It constantly changes to where like this upcoming week, not this week because I'm off, but the next week originally was going to be like a schedule that I was always getting used to for a while. And that was like I would do a 7 to 8 hour shift on a Monday, maybe a 6 hour shift or 4 hour shift, I should say, 4.5 hour shift on Tuesday. And then I'd probably do a 6 hour shift on Wednesday, 6 to 8 hours depending. And then I'd probably do finish off the week with 4.5 hours. Um, Lately, though, they've been changing that up to where now, basically, I'm not doing that. Instead, now what I am doing, you know, basically what I'm doing next week is just about what I've been doing. The only changes from what I can understand, from what I can gather, I should say, from what I can understand, is basically the fact that, well, we'll put it this way. We'll put it this way. Basically, the fact of the matter is this, I should say. Um, how do I put this? Okay, I'm trying to think of a good way of putting this. Um, the fact of the matter is, basically, my schedule is almost close to what I've been having, except it's off by a half hour. That's basically what it is. It's off by a half hour. It's like instead of being off at 5:30, I'm off at 5 o'clock. Like I'll go in at 8:30, get off at 5. That's basically how it's working. And that's how it is. That's how it's going to be for a while. Um, so yeah, so that's why, like I said, my schedule has always kind of been changing because one of the things is basically, you know, why, well, not basically been changing, but one of the reasons I've taken this week off because sometimes my schedule would change to the point that I would think, oh, I'm going to be off this week. And it turns out, oh, not off this week, but my week's going to be a lot lighter. It's not going to be as hectic. That isn't, that isn't the case. That's not the case whatsoever. Instead, uh, what happens is the schedule that I got used to about a month and a half ago or something. That schedule turns out to be kind of a placeholder. Like this could be like it's the tentative schedule I could have, but suddenly it changes. It just suddenly, you know, decides to change, and I basically end up having a different schedule. That's what happens. So yeah, it's basically what it is. It's like the schedule basically changed to the point that I had a different schedule in its place. Like I said, basically it would be a tentative schedule. It wouldn't be anything different. Oh, wouldn't be. Oh, what I'm trying to say is let me get some coffee here. I know I sound like I'm rambling, but like I said, it wouldn't be. How do I put this? It wouldn't be the way I thought it would be. So that's why I took this week off. Normally, I'd be working right now, but because of the fact that I've been working almost nonstop, along with my other fellow workers, and the fact that during some of those times I've been working nonstop, my job would have a skeleton crew. And basically, because of what's going on, and everything, on top of what's going on now, but even before then, with the virus and everything, basically, we had some people taking leave of absence for obviously, health reasons, you know, mental health, mental reasons, physical reasons, kind of like what I'm doing, kind of like taking this time to physically and mentally use this week to kind of get my facilities back straight. Like once I go back next Monday, I'll be perfectly fine. I'll be ready to go because I'll be refreshed, I'll be ready, you know, things will be on the up and up as far as I'm concerned. As far as you know, In other words, of being ready to go and all that. But basically, long story short, um, you know, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm able to do this live stream right now, because of the fact that I just decided several weeks ago, about a month ago. So, oops, hold on, while I adjust my seat here. Just fell down. Hold on for a second, folks. There we go. Just had to adjust the seat a little bit and just hit the mic there. Do apologize. Just adjust everything there again. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Just adjust. Just adjust. There we go. But yeah, like I said, that's basically why I took this week off. You know, my day's been good. I'm doing all right now. Yeah, I would get to work. I'll be getting to work in about a week. Believe me. um, but anyway, like I said, anyway, that's why I took this week off, because of the fact that mentally and physically, I need to recharge my batteries. And so far, so good. I'll put it that way. I mean, there have been a few moments that a lot of us have to grow accustomed to, ooh, especially when we try to take time off with the current living situations that a lot of us are in, depending on what kind of living situation you're in. Excuse me there. But yeah, it's just one of those moments where it's like, yeah, if I kept, I basically told myself this, that if I would have kept going one more week, if I would have gone back this week, there's no way that I probably would have, made it through the week without cracking or something like that. So anyway, like I said, just it's just one of those moments right now where it's like I just need to recharge my batteries and everything. And again, this is something that I planned to do about a month prior. I looked at the fact that I just needed time off, and like I said, I noticed that we had a skeleton crew, and I was like, you know what? I know what's going on here. I'm just going to do the same, and that's what I've done. My own health and mental reasons, basically. That's why I did it. And I'm sure a lot of you that could relate with work, especially essential work, can understand that. And I'm sure a lot of people that are just getting back to work could understand that as well, because I have a feeling that some of those people that are glad to be getting back to work are going to basically, they're basically going to probably want to take a week or two off in the next month or two, just so they can get their facilities and recharge their batteries again, because now they're heading back to work, and it's going to take a toll on them, because now they got to get back into that regular schedule of, okay, this is how we do things, this is how we don't do things, stuff like that. But anyway though, that's what's going on, and that's why, as much as I rambled on there for the past 13 minutes or so, or past 14 minutes, that is why I'm able to do this live stream. Like I said, it's an opportunity. It's one of the opportunities that I mentioned in my video, one of my videos a couple of days ago that I did during my lunch, that I was going to present and take, that I was going to take and basically present to you during this week, because of the opportunity that opened itself up. Thank the Lord for that. But now let's talk about certain topics we're going to tackle here today. We got eight, not six, eight topics. And that's a benefit of also having, time to be able to, do a live stream and all that. Is you can expand what you're going to talk about in the videos. So, the first topic we're going to talk about, we got 8, like I said. The first one we're going to talk about has to do with what's going on right now, and that is the protest going on right now, and why looting is not a justified protest. It's just an excuse to steal. We'll talk about that. Number 2, the NBA to resume play at Walt Disney World next month, mostly playoffs. We'll talk about that. Number 3, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie officially getting a sequel. Yes, that news made headlines this week. Number 4, we'll talk about the recently released expansion, the first ever, from what I understand, expansion for Mortal Kombat, and that is the Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath expansion. We'll get a chance to look at that. Number 5, we'll talk about the PlayStation 4 system update and its screw ups as of late. We'll talk about that. Number 6, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic spinoff Pony Life gets a premiere date, and Friendship is Forever, which is the mid-quill, or the not mid-quill, but the mid-pelage, or kind of like the middle epilogue, or the middle portion of an epilogue, or basically the mid-pelage, because it takes place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and the coronation of Twilight as the ruler of Equestria, along with her friends. We're going to talk about how Friendship is Forever, like I said, which is the mid-quill 6-part miniseries clip show series. Say that a couple times fast. Or the 6-part miniseries clip show is complete as far as certain parts of the world is concerned. Then number 7, we will talk about something that I'm kind of interested in. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in this as well, depending on this living situation, or where they have, what kind of TVs they are invested in. And that is, will 4K TVs get smaller in size? Yes, we'll talk about that. And then finally, we will talk about HBOMAX debuting this past week. So those are the 8 topics we are going to talk about. Let me get a sip of coffee here for a second. All right. So with that said, let's talk about number 1. And number 1, of course, is the protest going on right now across the land, across the country, in parts of the world, and why looting is not a justified protest. It's just an excuse to steal. Now, look, I'm going to come on here and say that I don't know everything when it comes to what's happening right now. I know why the protests are happening. I know it's because of the death of George Floyd. God rest his soul, and may God watch over his family and friends and provide them with the needs that they need. You know, because we know the Lord is going to work in miraculous ways, and He's going to work in a miraculous way for for this man's family in this time of loss. But on top of that, we also have the protests that are happening in His name. Mostly the protests that are going, if you go on social media, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, it's hashtag Black Lives Matter. And that is true. There is no doubt that Black lives matter, if not all life matter, but mostly Black lives right now, because I know how, look, again, I'm not going to come on here and say I know everything. But apparently, because of a certain reputation that follows that follows the black people, because of certain reputations that follow them that are unwarranted. Most of these reputations are unwarranted. Some are, most aren't. I'm going to say it right there. Most are not warranted. There's a lot of people that misunderstand the reputation that any race has, whether it's warranted or not. And those that misinterpret those reputations decide that, hey, I've got power now in some kind of way. I'm going to use it to enforce my disdain for that race because of the reputation. And that's not what you do. If you have power of any kind, especially if you are of law enforcement, your duty as a police officer is not to take the law into your hands, not to be judge, jury, and executioner, or not to try to take the life of somebody of a different race or religion because you don't like them. You don't like their race. You don't like their religion. Or you don't like them, period, because of the reputation you believe their race or the religion carries. That does not give you the right to become judge, jury, and executioner. It doesn't. What that does is it makes you most possibly the lowest piece of crap on earth, is what it does. It makes you the lowest piece of you know what on earth. And the people that are doing these protests across the country, in parts of the world, have justification for doing the protest, especially when they do it in a peaceful manner. And believe it or not, depending on what city you are in, there are police officers, men and women in uniform, that are actually in agreement with these protesters and that are ashamed that one of the fellow, now ex-officers, decided to take the law into his own hands and take somebody's life for no damn reason. And that's why these protests are going on as they are right now. But here's the thing. There is a difference between a peaceful protest and a not so peaceful protest, one that becomes aggressive. And I've noticed that and in my opinion, okay, because like I said, I don't come on here and say I know everything because I don't. But in my opinion, the more aggressive protests that are happening alongside the more peaceful ones somehow involve the younger generation, the mid to late teens, 20, early to mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s at the latest. Mostly people that are in the mid teens to early 30s, maybe late 20s at the most. The more aggressive protesting involves them from what I can see. And why? Because they believe this is going to get their voices heard. Yeah, it's going to get their voices heard, but it's also going to it's probably going to end up it's going to probably wind them up in jail. I mean, look, I'm not justifying what some of the police are doing in retaliation. I'm not. What some of the police around the country, if not the world, are doing in retaliation is wrong. I mean, yeah, they're trying to talk peacefully, you know, to these men and women and try to get them to understand, look, we know you're angry, but it doesn't justify them just walking across them or running into them with vehicles to get them to scatter, to get them out of the way. It doesn't justify that. It doesn't justify it at all. And you can't tell me, again, that there aren't police officers around the country that understand how upset people are and are joining people in protesting and not doing it just to set them up because, believe it or not, apparently there are police officers that are doing that, from what I understand. Not everyone, but some. There There are police officers, more than you can imagine, that are in agreement with the protesters that are doing this peacefully and are willing to actually walk beside you in protest because of what happened. There is a difference between that and aggressive protesting, which leads, unfortunately, to police being aggressive themselves, and they shouldn't have to be aggressive. They should be able to talk these people down. Now, I know some of you are going to come on here and say, well, they may not have a choice. And that's your opinion. Now, you got a right to your opinion on that. But the thing is, it shouldn't matter either way. You are supposed to protect the people, preserve law and order, and preserve peace as well. And the peaceful solution is try to talk these people down. Try to get on a mic and say, look, we know you're angry. We get it, but this is not the way to do it. And you know what's funny is you have several people that have come up to podiums across the country and have said, look, we are angry, we are mad, we are upset, but trashing your city or doing these or protesting aggressively is not the way to do it. One guy, as a matter of fact, in Atlanta came on and said, look, you want to have your voices heard? November's coming up. Make them heard then. Just, it's just what it is. It's just, there's a big difference. And probably the biggest difference of all is almost day and night. Because at night, and somewhat during the day, but mostly at night, you have people that are supposedly protesting, over what happened. But in fact, what they're really doing, and a lot of people, even the family of George Floyd, is ashamed of this. What a lot of these people are doing at night are not protesting, but they're using the protest as an excuse to steal. That's what they're doing. They're using it as an excuse to commit crimes by looting stores, burning down police stations, burning down banks, burning down retail stores, or bashing windows, going in, stealing stuff, and using it as justification of, oh, we're doing this in protest, and that's a bunch of bull, and everybody knows it. Everybody that watches what goes on through social media and the news, they know that what the looters are doing at night, somewhat during the day, but mostly at night, is not justified for protest. It's just an excuse to, oh, I'm going to go into this Target and I'm going to steal this 40-inch TV and I'm going to justify it by saying, oh, I did this out of protest. You didn't do it out of protest. You just did it because you saw an opportunity to get free stuff. And again, I hate to say this, and it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but mostly my opinion. The majority of people doing this are the young mid-teens to late 20s, early 30s people. People that are in that age range of mid-teens to late 20s, early 30s are the ones doing this. They are the ones doing this, and their justification is they're doing it out of protest, and that's not true. That is not true, and they know it. The people watching at home know it. The people that are protesting the right way, even if it's a bit aggressive, but the right way, they know it. The ones that are protesting peacefully and a little aggressively, which is unnecessary, I will admit, they know it. They know that what these people are doing at night is a bunch of bull. They know it. In fact, I'm sure people right here on the live chat, they know it. I mean, you have people that go into a peaceful protest, coming back only to see the means of transportation of one of them trashed like it's nothing. Broken windows, flattened tires, all that because, oh, I did it out of protest. No, you didn't do it out of protest. You just did it as an excuse to let out your rage or your whatever. And some people might even say that a lot of the young men and women that are doing this, because like I said, in my opinion, you got the mid-teens to late 20s, early 30s people doing this. A lot of people might say that those in the mid-teens to late 20s, maybe mid-20s, are doing this out of rebelliousness. Because we all know that when kids get into certain age range, as mid-teens or young adults, and all that, they become more rebellious against the system, and they want to take the aggression out somehow, and they're going to basically use something like this to do so. And that's not what you do. It's not what you do. That's not what you do. What you do is you voice your opinion. You voice your opinion. You get on the internet, like social media, like Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, BitChute, Facebook. You voice your opinion. You get in a group chat. You voice your opinion. You schedule a gathering, a peaceful gathering. You voice your opinion. You voice how you feel. You don't basically use something like this to basically lash out and showcase visually and physically your rebellious nature because you don't like the system or whatever. Yeah, you don't like cars on fire. You don't like building. You don't cost people their livelihood. You don't cost people 2 weeks of work even if they get paid for it. You don't do that because you're protesting. You do that because what? Because you want to send a message? All you're doing is sending a message of the fact that mentally, and again, my opinion, mentally, you're not mature enough to understand what really happened or to maturely do the right thing. You're not there yet. And what's funny is if you look at a percentage wise, if you take what's going on numerically from a percentage standpoint, you look at the fact that you have more peaceful protest than you do what happens at night. Yeah, it's like 75% protests are done peacefully, somewhat aggressively, but peacefully. And 25% of it at night is done just as an excuse or is used as an excuse for people to loot and steal and cause damage and everything because, they want to be rebellious. They want to rage against the system. And that's not how and that, to me, in my opinion, that's a telling number. And when you have 75% of the protesters who are protesting peacefully across this country and parts in the world, with a few aggressiveness here and there, which is unnecessary, but still, when you have protesters you have 75% people protesting the right way, over 25% of those that are just protesting the wrong way or saying that they're protesting as an excuse to loot, that's a telling number. And when 75% of those people are ashamed about what these other people are doing, it's like they see the truth. They see that these men and women that are doing this are mentally not right up here or not mentally mature yet. They don't They don't grasp the reality of what a protest really is. It's just great. It's just look, like I said, I'm not coming on here saying I know everything, but there's no need for people to use protests at night as an excuse to loot. I mean, what are you going to tell the National Guard person that stops you and they see you carrying a 40-inch, 70-inch television with your friends? What are you going to tell them? Oh, I just took it out of protest? No, no, they're not going to believe that. The fact of the matter is, we all understand why people are angry. We're all angry because this police officer didn't give a damn about what happened to this man. He didn't give a damn what happened to him. And sometimes I wonder if some of these police officers, I wonder if they're part of a certain group that goes by 3 alphabetic letters. I wonder if some of the officers across the country are part of that. Some people may say that's not the case, that's not true. It's just probably how they were raised, physically and mentally. And it's probably the case. But you never know. You never know. But again, I understand the need for protest. I understand doing it in a peaceful way. And I thank God that people in Patterson, California, hopefully people in Newman, which they will, people in Tracy, people in parts of New York, and other parts of the country, majority of the country, are trying to do it in a peaceful manner. I also understand that those that do get aggressive, which is unnecessary, especially towards law enforcement, are doing it because they don't trust them. They don't believe police can be trusted anymore. And I understand that too. But I'm going to put it to you like this. I'm a born again Christian. And even though I don't go to church as much as I should, I do know one thing. You put this in God's hands. You give it to the Lord. You let Him handle it and watch what happens. The guy, the ex-cop that did this, is already being charged with murder and manslaughter. And I have no doubt in my mind that the other 3 that were involved are going to be brought to justice. And all of them are going to serve a long, long life sentence behind bars with no parole, no bail. And perhaps, maybe the guy that did this, that ex-police officer, maybe he'll end up getting the ultimate punishment. But that's up to God. It's up to Him. It's up to Him to decide whether or not this man spends the rest of his life along with his accomplice, I should say, easy for me to say. If he spends the rest of his life with his fellow accomplice behind bars without parole, without bail, or if he ends up getting the ultimate punishment. As I say in a lot of my videos, we'll have to wait and see, but I say this as a born again Christian, or what, I say give it to God. I say put it in His hands and watch what happens. Or whatever religion you believe in, I say put it in the hands of whoever you believe in and watch what happens. But that's all I'm going to say, guys, because honestly, flat out, this kind of these kind of situations, these kind of tragedies, they need to stop. And by the Lord above and His power be done, they will be. They will be. Just like this virus is dying right now and slowly going away, and it's being done in His time, so will this. So will this. But that's all I'm going to say on that, guys. Just wanted to get that out of my system. Gonna take a breather here for a second, guys. Gonna check the super chats. Not super chats, but the live chat, I should say. Thank you, guys. Bugs, Desiree, Steven, for joining me. Bugs, apparently, I think you live in Florida or New York. Yeah. It seems that it seems more of the more capitalized cities, major cities are being focused on. But like I said, give it to God. It's going to be in His timing, and I guarantee you, I promise you, justice is going to be served. It's going to be served in a way that's appropriate for this man, for his accomplice. And again, whether or not he gets the ultimate punishment or he gets life, it's what God will decide. It's what He will decide. Anyway, though, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a breather for a second. And my thing just hit the mic. I do apologize. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just need to take a breather. I know I'm not the only one that's talked about that and got a little angry to where they've had to, excuse me, had to take a breather after that. But anyway, though, yeah, like I said, it's just, just give it to God and see what happens, and He's gonna take care of it. He's He's already got it set and done. Don't worry about that. All right, so the second topic we're going to talk about here, let's get on to more happier, positive things. Let's talk about some more happier, positive things here. Second thing we're going to talk about is the NBA. Yes, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, to resume play at Walt Disney World next month. Yeah, in case you guys haven't heard, they are finalizing the deal. As I adjust my seat here for a second, they are finalizing the deal to get the NBA to resume play, mostly the playoffs, if you will, at Walt Disney World next month, or at least in July. Yes. Well, yeah, I'm all good now. But anyway, like I said, the NBA, excuse me, and I don't have the virus. Don't worry. That's just after doing that talking about that first topic really took a lot out of me. But anyway, like I said, second topic: NBA to resume play at Walt Disney World next month, and or as it's questionably put, the topic is more of a question of the NBA to resume play at Walt Disney World next month, and that is true. There is truth to that. Basically, like I said, the NBA, the National Basketball Association, has been working on a solution to resume play, or at least finish off the season with the postseason in some form or fashion. And there's word going around that Walt Disney World is the prime location for that to happen, where they could have family and friends in attendance, as well as maybe some fans as well, so they can get the season up and going again, and the postseason up and going, and get it out of the way as quickly as possible, so they can give the players a little bit of time. Uh, they can give players a little bit of time to afterwards to spend with their families, and then start coming back for training camps and all that in the future. They might even, from what I understand, because of what's going on, might extend the start of the regular season till at least December or November of this year, to give a little bit more time, like I said, to the players. Because here's the thing, the NBA season as a whole, it starts around October and doesn't end until at least mid-June. So you got to think about the fact that they're going to be doing this, and this probably won't be done till at least maybe August, at the earliest, mid-August. Then they have to at least extend by an additional month or so. Excuse me, there, an additional month or so, to allow players to rest up, be with their families, and then report back to training camp, wherever that may be for them. If they end up on another, if certain players end up on another on another team in the future. I was just pushing my chair a little closer there, but if they end up on another team or so, to allow players to get to that facility and practice with that team. And according to Bugs, not the Bugs Bunny character, but the guy that goes by the name on YouTube, the NHL is going to be starting next month as well with the playoffs, just to finish out the season. But yeah, NBA is working on doing that at Walt Disney World. Again, I don't know all about. Again, from what I can assume, friends and family will be allowed, as well as maybe some fans. The fans part, I'm not too sure about, but I'm pretty sure they'll be allowed in. So you're going to have fans probably there. The same will probably be for the NHL. That might be something unique. Major League Baseball is also working on something. And here's what's ironic about the NBA planning for next month to do this, as well as the NHL and, as well as the NHL with the playoffs and all that, and MLB probably starting up next month with some kind of modified season because of the modified situation we're going through right now, or the situation we're going through right now, depending on how it's going to be done. I want you to notice that it's all happening or being centered around July. I want to mention, and I want to bring that up because one of the holidays, if not one of the major holidays of the year, is the 4th of July. Now, you can't tell me that our president, depending on how you feel about him, that's a choice of opinion, you can't tell us that he's not going to probably want to see some 4th of July celebrations take place across the country to kind of diverse from what's going on right now. Hopefully by then, things would have died down. But anyway, you can't tell us that he'll want some kind of 4th of July celebration of some kind. On top of that, you can't tell me that he doesn't want to see sports come back. He does. And my opinion is he's probably been in discussion with a lot of the commissioners of a lot of these major sports leagues, and they've all agreed that maybe the best timing is July because, heck, this was even put on Facebook at one point. This was even put on Facebook that basically the NBA playoffs, not the NBA playoff, but the virus does not survive in sunlight. Yeah, scientists have come out according to an article on Facebook and have stated that the virus does not survive in the sun, mostly in heat as well. So that should be a telling sign that, if that's the truth, then the virus will be dissipating a lot more as we get into the warmer times of the year, especially in the next few weeks. I mean, here in Newman, it's going to be 88 today, which is okay, but then tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, it's going to be in the hundreds. Like tomorrow, from what I understand, it's going to be straight up 100, maybe 99, maybe a degree below, which would be 99 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday are going to be 104. And if what scientists are saying is true, then that's really going to help dissipate the virus in a big, big way. But again, you have to see that you got to find it ironic that the NBA and by extension the NHL and by extension again the Major League Baseball MLB are all wanting to start up or restart the seasons or start up the postseasons as far as the NBA and NHL goes in July because, hey, that's when warm weather comes in. Oh, hey, that's when the virus is going to be less infected or less effective. Now, I know that some people like Bugs here on the live chat have said that it gets warm in Florida where he's at, I believe, and that the virus is still there. But again, you Google this, you look it up on Facebook, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, getting back on topic of our second topic, excuse me, we're getting back on topic for our second topic. Yeah, the NBA is planning to resume play at Walt Disney World next month, mostly with the playoffs, to where they can finally crown a champion and then proceed to work towards how they're going to do next season, which should kind of be back at a regular basis because by then, the virus should have been dissipated. And basically, from what I can tell, this heat is going to buy the sunlight. If what scientists are saying is true, the sunlight and the heat should buy doctors and fellow scientists enough time to come up with a vaccine to distribute across the country to help people not get the virus at all, or if they have it, or if they did have the virus, not to get it again, and just treat it like it's another one of those common sicknesses that we now have to add to the ever-growing chart of diseases that we've recently discovered, or that we have to watch out for at certain times of the year. But yeah, the NBA, like I said, is planning to resume next month, mostly with the playoffs at Walt Disney World. And again, how it's going to work, I'm assuming, like I said, they're going to have friends and family in attendance, as well as maybe some fans. We can hope. Okay, so the third topic. Let's get on to the third topic here. It was announced by Paramount itself and even Sega itself, officially announced after speculation for the past several months, that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which came out in February in theaters, but then quickly went to home video because of what's going on, one of the results of what's going on, I should say, but during its time in theaters, made buku numbers, broke box office records, whatever you want to call it. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is officially getting a sequel. And this, of course, was speculated, and some was speculated by a lot of fans as possibly happening when that ending scene in the mid-credits or the end credits showcased a certain two-tailed fox showing up. So yeah, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is officially getting a sequel next month. I mean, not next month, but again, is officially not next month. That would be great if it was, but not next month. But it's officially getting a sequel in the near future. Yeah, and this is great news. This is great news because you can only, because here's the thing, you could, again, it was only natural that this was going to happen, especially if you tease Tails showing up. Especially if you tease Tails showing up, you knew this was going to happen. You knew it. You knew for a fact it was going to happen. And guess what? It's going to. And people love it. They love this because here's why. Not only are we going to get Tails, but it opens the door for whatever expansion of the Sonic universe, especially cinematic universe or movie universe, you can think of. You know, a lot of people are speculating that it just won't be Tails. That because of the fact that we had a certain echidna race debut in the movie, from what people have said, it seems that Knuckles is another logical inclusion. Some have said Metal Sonic is a natural inclusion. Some have even speculated they could go as far as getting Amy Rose in there. And that's all true. I mean, it sounds like the people, the producer, and all of them behind this want to give the fans what they want when it comes to this movie or this movie franchise. And if that's the case, then there's no doubt they should be giving the fans the characters they want to see right off the bat. They should. There is no doubt about that. They should be giving them the characters they want right off the bat. I mean, honestly, if you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go on any of those sites, and you will, honest to God, you will see drawings and colorizations of those drawings of Sally Acorn in Sonic with a Sonic movie design. Some have even gone as far as to basically Photoshop her in Sonic's place in Sonic's position in Sonic's place in the first movie. Yeah, they photoshopped and colorized Sally into Sonic's spot onto Sonic in some of the scenes Sonic's in the first movie to give you an idea of what she could look like. That's no joke. That is no joke whatsoever. It's the truth. It is the absolute truth that's what they did. And again, you could look it all around. Even Google Sally Acorn and Sonic movie. And you'll see exactly what I'm probably talking about. Probably see. Yeah, and that too. Yeah, that too. And hello, trans. Nice to see you. But yeah, that too. Basically, Jim Carrey's even said that he wants to fulfill. He wants to do another role as Robotnik, Eggman, but now he wants to be in a fat suit. A plasterized fat suit. The ones that they apply to people. When they're on camera, prosthetic wise and all that, or even motion sensor. Imagine him being surrounded by all these rounded motion sensor lights to give him that look, from a CGI perspective. Yeah, even Jim Carrey wants to come back and do it and be the Robotnik / Eggman that fans expect. He'll probably end up being more like the Eggman / Robotnik. Excuse me, my finger hit the mic there again and the filter. But fans might expect him to be the Eggman / Robotnik that we've gotten recently. But yeah, that's what fans want. Fans want to see that. Oh, not just fans, but that's what Jim Carrey wants to do. But again, the Sonic sequel opens the door. Because if the Sonic sequel can become a success, which I would have no doubt in my mind, all right, and I'm probably saying this as a Sonic fan myself, but I have no doubt in my mind could be a huge success, then it opens the door, in my opinion, for more Sonic movies to happen, for more characters from the Sonic franchise, not just the games, but expanded franchise to come in. I mean, you can't tell me that fans, when they hear a Sonic movie is going to happen, and they hear the possibility of not just Tails, which has already been confirmed, but Amy Rose, Knuckles, Metal Sonic, you can't tell me they're not thinking of, oh, could we end up getting Shadow? Could we end up getting Rouge? Can we end up getting Blaze? Can we end up getting Silver? Can we end up getting Omega 1, 2, 3, or whatever his name is? You can't think that they don't imagine that happening. But on top of that, you can't tell me that they can't imagine a potential future Sonic movie happening and it not involving the Freedom Fighters. Because here's the thing, that's what fans want to see. I mean, they'll be happy if they get Tails, Amy, and Knuckles in the next one. They'll be happy if a third movie comes out and, oh, here comes Blaze, Shadow, Rouge, Silver. Expand even more, or even more, if you know what I mean. But they would blow, I guarantee you, and this is the honest truth. It's the honest truth. It's the honest truth, ladies and gentlemen. You can't tell me that if they decide to do a movie series out of this, a movie franchise out of this, a cinematic universe or a movie universe out of this, where you have multiple sequels, you can't tell me that come the third or fourth Sonic movie, you can't tell me that they would not blow the roof off that cinema if they saw Sally, Antoine, Rotor, Bunny, and Dulcie show up on screen. Yes, I even said Dulcie because she's a member of the team as well. You cannot tell me though that the roof wouldn't blow off that place because it would. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. You know how they did with Tails at the end of the first movie? You can't tell me that if they decide to end the second movie in a similar way, but we're on maybe the planet we're on the planet that Tails came from, which is Sonic's planet. You can't tell me that maybe the moment, let's say, there's a communication between Tails or Sonic, or something happens. You can't tell me that if that mid-credit scene at the end of the second movie shows another character, and that character lifts up their head, and it's Sally. You can't tell me the place wouldn't blow. You can't tell me the roof wouldn't blow off that place by the fans erupting, because it would. And I know that sounds silly to a lot of people. I know people find that probably a little crazy to say, but you know what? It's a fact. It is a fact of life. It is a truth. It is no doubt a truth. And anybody here in anybody here in the live chat, from Transin fan to R. Frederick Bradshaw, you guys can't tell me that they can't tell me that that wouldn't happen, because it would. It no doubt would. And everybody watching this live, or will be watching this later on, knows that to be true, because it's a fact. It is a fact, no doubt in my mind. It is a fact. Because here's the thing. Depending on how you feel about certain movie franchises expanding, going back, or whatever, you can't deny that they added characters you wouldn't think they would add. And people were happy about that, despite how the movie may have been or may have turned out. You can't tell me people weren't happy to see that character on the screen, because they were. You can't tell me that. I mean, I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. At the end, okay, here's what I'm talking about. At the end of the second X-Men film, of the original X-Men trilogy, we heard Jean Grey's voice, and we've been getting hints throughout that film. Her powers were evolving. She was getting stronger. So basically, at the end of that film, and I was in the theaters, I saw this movie twice in one day. And on one of and I think it was on the second or first, I think it was on the second showing. When that ending came on, you heard Jean Grey's voice. And she's telling about how powers evolve, mutants evolve. And all of a sudden, you see underneath the lake this yellow silhouette of the Phoenix. I can tell you from experience, that place exploded. Because if there was one X-Men character, they wanted to see show up in the X-Men films, it was Phoenix. They wanted Phoenix. Now, true, they didn't get Phoenix the way they were hoping in X-Men 3, or X3, if you will. But still, they got Phoenix. But again, still, the way it was built up in the second film and what they were hoping for to see in the third film, which they kind of got, but not the way they were hoping, that place exploded. I mean, I was right next to somebody, and I high-fived him and was like, yeah, Phoenix is showing up. Because that's what people wanted. People wanted the Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, the Dark Phoenix was good for the third film. There's no doubt. But again, what I'm saying is when that silhouette showed up at the end of the second film, that place erupted. And again, I bring this up as a comparison to the fact, as crazy as it sounds, that if you end the second film with Tails communicating with somebody, saying that everything's cool, he's found Sonic, they're together, blah, 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 they're going to find a way home, or whatever, or everything's cool for you to probably show up yourself, and he ends the transmission, and then all of a sudden the person, you see the character he's uh, talking to the communication, you see the silhouette of the character in the shadows, and all of a sudden that character steps forward, and it's Sally, or she emerges out of the shadows somehow, and it's Sally. That place will explode. That the cinema will lose their minds. Period. They will lose it. They will lose it. I mean, I'm getting excited just for the fact that this is the possibility of something like that happening, along with appearances of Amy Rose and Bunny and Knuckles and Shadow and Rouge and Antoine and all of them. But imagine, if you will, for a moment, folks, for a moment. Yeah, even TransFan agrees with that. I mean, think about it. Okay, let's think about it. You're sitting there, you're eating your popcorn, you're drinking, you're watching the credits. You've heard there's rumors of a mid-credits showing up. All of a sudden, we get to the mid-credits. You see Tails talking to somebody on the communicating with them and saying everything's cool. Cool and everything, showing them that he's found Sonic, that these are his human friends, da da da, and that whatever to lead us into the third film. And then all of a sudden, you see emerge out of the shadows, walking towards maybe the window or walking towards, whoever they talk to on off screen, and suddenly it's Sally. I don't know what else to tell you. Again, the roof would blow off. It would. It would honestly blow off. And you don't think she's that iconic? And people. And here's the thing: if that happens, that would solidify one major thing. That would solidify the fact that she is an iconic Sonic character, no matter how you feel about it. It would solidify it. It would justify and solidify her as an iconic Sonic character. And again, those listening to me in the live chat, and those that are going to be listening to me later on, they know that's true. They know it. They know it's true. It's not a lie. Okay, have a good day, Frederick, and we will be safe. But even like I said, I'm gonna quote what TransFan just put on the live chat here. TransFan says, and I quote, or TrainsFan, I should say, and I quote. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Trains. But TrainsFan says, and I quote, "The roof of the cinemas definitely would blow if Sally came into the Sonic movie. There's no doubt." TransFan even says, yeah, what I mentioned earlier, yeah, he saw that, basically being the photoshops of Sally being put into Sonic's place in the first Sonic movie, as well as the drawings and the colorization of those drawings of her in a Sonic movie design. But yeah, again, there's no getting around it. There's no getting around the fact that as Sally shows up in the mid-credit scene at the end of the second movie after communicating with Tails, and we see that it is her as she emerges out of the shadows, people are going to blow. Or they're going to blow their minds, especially if she's telling someone off screen or telling the group off screen, okay, basically telling them, all right, let's go. It's time to go. Or if she says, okay, freedom fighters, let's bring them home. If she says something like freedom fighters, and that leads us into the third film, as they always say, third time's the charm? This would be the charm. Or that would be the charm. There is no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. But yeah, to me, that would be something. But as I say in a lot of my videos, it's a wait and see deal. But if Paramount and Sega and the people mostly behind this are willing to give the fans what they want, mostly the producers and all that, then that's what you do. But getting back on the topic before we head into the next one, yes, the Sonic movie is officially getting a sequel, and I, for one, cannot wait. So, anyway, with that said, let's get on to our fourth main topic, and that is the recently released Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath expansion. Yes, the expansion that was revealed not even that long ago, basically at the beginning of the month, or at the end of last month into this month, was released this past week. And all I can say, ladies and gentlemen, is whoa. Now, I understand some people are like, well, wait a minute, wasn't it supposed to be free? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The return of friendship, the new stages and stage fatalities, they were free. Stage fatalities and the return of friendships and some new skins, those were free. The new story that takes place after the MK11 story, along with the characters of Shiva, Fujin, and Robocop, those were part of the DLC of $39.99. Yeah. You you get the stage fatalities, the new stages, and the friendships and the skins free, from what I understand. But the new 3 fighters and the expansion and the story, yeah, that's going to cost you about $39.99. $10 more if you decide to get the physical disc, or the whole copy, or the whole damn thing if you haven't gotten MK11 yet. Yeah, but basically, but basically, yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath came out this past week. I ended up getting it. I got the $39.99 since I already have the game, which I bought for about the same price on Black Friday last November. So for me, in reality, I think I spent about $80 altogether, which I guess if you got the expansion deluxe version when it came out was about the same. So anyway, the MK11 Aftermath expansion. I haven't played the story mode yet because I haven't even played the story mode on the original Mortal Kombat. So I haven't played that yet, but from what I can tell, it looks really good. It looks great. I like the fact that Shiva. I like that she's not. How do I put this? She's not a bad girl, but she's more along the lines. I don't know if she's a bad girl or not, but she's more along the lines of kind of a bodyguard for hire or something. But I like the fact that she's her own woman almost, and her. I'll put it this way: her fighting style in this is close to what she used to have, with a few more added attributes or abilities, and her fatalities are really good. Her fatalities are really, really good. It's mostly with just her just using her strength. Like one of the fatalities is she takes somebody up and boom, 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 drags their head into the ground, stomps on their head, and then pulls them up. And next thing you see is just, you know, and literally when she pulls them up, she's detached their head from the body, and all you see is, the body hanging without their head, her holding that up, but you see their head with just a spinal sticking out. Now, Fujin, really good. I like that character. He's got two good fatalities. One is he basically takes out a piece of your gut, if you will, whatever, wraps it around you, you know, floats you in the air. Well, he floats you and what he does is he takes out a bit of your intestines while he's floating you in the air, wraps it around you, and then shoo, drops you to the ground, and you break into like four pieces. But then the other one he has is where he's basically shooting all this stuff. He's shooting his knives at you or his swords at you or something, and then he shoots his one main sword at you, and it basically causes it goes right through you, goes right through your opponent, but it makes it look like it's turned them inside out or something like that. RoboCop's, I'm sure we've all seen RoboCop's fatalities. One is he'll do this, he'll use an arm cannon, boop, it'll hit his opponent in the head, and then he'll fire. It looks like he's going to fire at the crotch area, but it goes right underneath the crotch area, and it causes the thing that he fired first to explode and cause the opponent to blow up into pieces as he's walking away in that classic 80s explosion kind of deal. The other one is where basically he does this, he jams it, he takes the spike out of his, he, up, he, what's the word I'm looking for? He activates this little spike in his arm, jams it into the opponent's throat, and then pulls it out, and then shoots one of their hands off. And while they're looking at their hand being shot off, all of a sudden you have Ed 209. I think that's the robot coming in and going, and then RoboCop brings out this big old cannon and go boom, and it blows you right in half. So yeah, these are gruesome fatalities. There's no doubt for each of them. Very gruesome fatalities. But along with that, you also have some stage deaths as well. You have the retrocade, where basically, I think depending on I don't think it depends on who you are, but basically, the way you finish it is you go behind one of the arcade cabinets, which I think is Mortal Kombat 3 or 1. You lift it up like this, and you toss it right onto your opponent. The other one is, I think it has to do with an established area, but basically you cause your opponent to fall into some spikes. You lift them up and they fall into some spikes or something like that. But then we get to the Deadpool one, and it does live up to what's an original thing, where basically you get dipped in, you come back up you get dipped in, you rise up back. The next thing we see of you is a skeleton, right? Well, they take it a step further, because basically, once your opponent hits you in the jaw and knocks you towards the Deadpool, you get you get caught by this hook, which goes through your neck into your mouth, and it pulls and basically dips you under while you're struggling, dips you under the pool. You see, it dips you under the pool where for about a second, you see nothing but like a puddle of blood just spreading. And then as they lift you up, almost a second or two after they put you down, they lift you back up. And the next thing you have is nothing but a skeleton, where to really add the effect of how deadly this pool is, part of your arm, after you've been basically dipped into this acid and pulled back up and turned into a skeleton, your part of your arm falls off, part of your leg falls off, basically indicating how deadly this pool is. Now, what's interesting about MK11, especially with Aftermath, but as a whole, is the different ways the character's skeletal uh, skeleton um, anatomy is showcased, depending on the character. Like with Shiva, when let's say she gets dipped into the pool, she comes up as a skeleton, and you see like four arms, and one of the bottom arms or the top arm, one of them falls off along with the leg. When the Terminator gets dipped, he comes up, and you see his exoskeleton. Of course, it's been destroyed. Of course, it's offline now, and it's just the same thing. His arm falls off, leg falls off, and all that. RoboCop, totally different story because he gets dipped in there, and he comes up, and all you see is like a skeleton face, but his whole metallic body is completely destroyed. And again, same thing. Baraka has the same thing, but difference is his skeleton's got the teeth on it. So it all depends on what kind of character gets a fatality. But the expansion pack, I'm telling you honestly, I've had fun with this. I've had fun with the fatalities. I've had fun playing the characters. I've had fun seeing the interactions between them. It's just been a blast. And if you've not gotten MK11 yet, then I would recommend spending the extra $10 on the Aftermath version so you get everything. Or if you do have MK11 but you haven't gotten Aftermath, I highly recommend you get it because it is worth your money. It's definitely worth it in the end. So, with that said, let's get on to number 5. Our fifth topic. And our fifth topic is the PlayStation 4, and mostly the PS4's recent system update, or basically PS4's system update screw ups as of late. Yeah, in case you guys don't know, it seems, as I adjust the mic filter there, it seems Sony, I should say, has had problems with some of their updates as of late. And here's what I'm talking about. Not this most recent update, but probably a little before this. I think it was last month or 2 months ago. They did an update, and after the update, it seems that everybody's internet at a certain time during the day, or mostly at night, seems to go off. But someone did report on social media when this first happened that when you turn off your PlayStation, wait a bit, maybe about a second or two, or 5 seconds or whatever, then turn it back on, then everything is fine. Everything's back online. So I tried that and it works. So what's happening? What's causing this? Well, in my opinion, just my opinion, guys, my opinion, what I think is happening is Sony, because of what we're going through right now with this virus and all that, Sony decided, especially those at the PlayStation department or division, decided to add in a timer. Yeah, they decided to add in a time limit. Basically, a time limit as to when the internet goes off or the servers go off temporarily. And you might ask, why did they do that? How is that possible? How are you sure? Because every time it hits around 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific, that's when it acts up. And that's when I have to basically restart it. And it turns out I have to shut it down, turn it back on, and it turns out fine. Everything's back up. The reason I believe, in my opinion, they did this is because, like I said, what we're going through right now And what we're going through right now is causing a lot of kids and teenagers to not be to basically what I'm saying is what we're going through right now is causing a lot of kids and teenagers to be off schedule. So basically a lot of them are staying up a lot later than they should on what would be a school night. And obviously somebody at Sony who's probably a parent themselves at the place, especially working in the PlayStation division, decided, or who probably is the head of the PS4 division or the PlayStation division, probably decided, hey, you know, I've got a kid that's staying up late because of what's going on, because off schedule, and they're just playing the game systems without staying on schedule, just in case things change. So they probably, in my opinion, came up with a solution of let's put a timer to where when a certain time, mostly 11 o'clock hits, depending on the time zone, when that hits, that's when we can basically cause the internet to go off or the servers to turn off the internet or whatever, and that will cause the kids to basically have to go to bed. It will cause them to go to sleep. So that is why, in my opinion, I think everybody's losing internet at certain times, mostly around the 11 o'clock p.m. hour, depending on the part of the world, the part of the country that they live in. It's mostly because of the fact that I believe somebody at Sony and somebody mostly in charge of the PlayStation division at Sony decided to add a timer or a time limit in it to make sure that the young kids and teenagers that are still school bound are not off schedule. That's just my opinion. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, but I don't think I am. I think it's an absolute truth. And I think those at Sony and PlayStation, mostly those at Sony and mostly those at the PlayStation division at Sony, know this. And I think anybody else watching this or will be watching this knows that as well. I think they do. So that's one possible screw up, as you call it, as of late when it comes to the system updates. The other one, believe it or not, is with YouTube. Yes, apparently YouTube's app on the PS4 screwed up or is screwed up right now. Now, there are reports that apparently a hacker group got into it, that's a notorious hacker group got into it and caused this to happen. And that might be true. But the question is, when did that happen? How did they get access? How did they get how were they able to hack into the system? How were they able to do that? And I think it has to do with the latest system update. I think the latest system update allowed this hacker group to gain access into the PlayStation system and network, and cause YouTube to be disconnected. I mean, you can still watch YouTube on there, but if you want your channel, as if you were to sign in, you have to search for yourself. Excuse me. But yeah, that happened. PlayStation basically, but yeah, the YouTube app on PlayStation is not working right now because it was either hacked into or somebody um, screwed up with the latest PS4 update. That's what they did. They screwed up. They did something that they shouldn't have done, and now they got to probably fix it along with YouTube's help to get things back up and running. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check it right now on Twitter to see if there's any status on the situation. Let's see now. Let's see. Apparently not. Apparently there hasn't been a situation according to Zion Hodges on Twitter. Let's see. Yeah, apparently nothing has been fixed yet. Hopefully they fix it before the day's out. A lot of people are not too happy, but again, apparently somebody screwed up on their end during the system update, or during the system update, this hacker group was able to gain access to the network and basically caused YouTube to be disconnected and caused some other problems, according to some people, as well. Maybe not as major as YouTube, but basically it is a big deal. It is a big deal to a lot of people. Obviously, it's a big enough deal to where people are not happy right now. So hopefully they get it fixed, and I think they will. I think what's going to happen is they're going to track down this hacker group as they've done before. Because here's the thing: this is not the first time. It's not the first time a hacker group has gained access to PS4's network. As a matter of fact, several years ago, when the systems PS4 and the Xbox One just came out or were coming out, a hacker group got into the system around Christmas time, and on Christmas Day caused everybody's online connection to go down. And they did that because, we did this to send them. And here's why. Here's why this hacker group did it. They did it because, we wanted to send a message. If we could do this, we could also fix it. So Sony, Microsoft, hire us. We can help. Well, whatever. They did that because they wanted Microsoft and Sony to hire them to be part of their team. Just and by what? By proving they can hack into the system? Anyway. Anyway, yeah, this is not the first time this has happened, and it has been fixed before. It's gonna get fixed again. Don't worry about that. And I think however they fix it, whether it's another update or something, they're gonna make sure that this doesn't occur ever again. That's a guarantee. That is a guarantee. There's no doubt in my mind. But yeah, over the past month, if not the past week, the system update for PS4 for the PlayStation 4 has had some screw ups as of late. It's no longer a question; it's a fact. Okay, so number six. Number six, ladies and gentlemen. My Little Pony. Yes. We're going to talk some MLP here, guys. Talk some MLP. Um, we're going to talk some MLP here. And mostly what we're going to talk about is the spin off series, Pony Life, and the mid pelage series, as I call it, which was a mid epilogue that takes place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and Twilight's coronation and last problem. Friendship is forever. Yes. So, Pony Life. Let's talk about Pony Life first. Pony Life finally getting a premiere date on Discovery Family. Yes, it will premiere on Discovery Family. It's supposed to premiere around June 13th. And apparently, the way it's being described, or the way the episode is being described, is it's going to be in the veins. It's going to be in the veins of basically two separate mini episodes. That's right. It's a whole 22 minutes, but it's two separate 11-minute episodes, from what I can understand. And oh, sorry, my thing hit the mic there. Hold on for a sec. I'll be right back, folks. Got to get something to drink here. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I had to get some water here. Throat's getting dry. But anyway, yeah, Pony Life is, like I said, getting its premiere on June 13th. And the way it's being described is it's going to be two 11-minute mini episodes within a 22-minute full episode. Now, this is not the first time any show has done this. I'll give you a good example. Excuse me. I'll give you a good example. Basically, one of my favorite shows, two of my favorite Disney shows, as a matter of fact, uh, the 1986 to 1991 Gummy Bears, Adventures of the Gummy Bears, and the 1997 101 Dalmatians, the series, both went down. Both had this format for a majority of their run. Even Disney's adaptation of the Wuzzles had this adaptation of for had this format for this series as well. And on occasions, they would have 30-minute episodes, just full-length 30-minute episodes. Just one episode that ran for 30 minutes or 22 minutes to be more precise. So yeah, they had that, and long story short, well, it proved to be a success, and people liked it. People enjoyed it. Um, anyway, though, getting back on topic here. Anyway, getting on, and also Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo had this as well. Scooby Doo actually had it with the all new Scooby Doo Scrappy Doo show, which featured the return of Daphne. They had two separate mini episodes, but they also continued that format um, into the second season, which was redubbed the new Scooby Doo Mysteries. But they split the episode in two by saying, "Here's part one," like with the premiere called "Happy Birthday Scooby Doo." It was "Happy Birthday Scooby Doo Part One," and then when they came back from a commercial, it was "Happy Birthday Scooby Doo Part Two," which didn't really make sense. It was kind of weird, but I think they did it in a chapter kind of scenario. Heck, I'll even get another heck if you want MLP relation on it or any MLP connection. They did this back with Generation 1 and Generation 2. Yeah, they did this with those episodes, those series. Generation 1 did it the same way that the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries did, which was two 11-minute, which was basically a full episode split into two parts or two chapters. And My Little Pony Tales, which is Generation 2, had two separate stories. So it's not going to be the first time, nor will it be the last time any no, will it probably be the last. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, and I just hit the filter there again. Like I said, it's not the first time, and it probably won't be the last time that MLP goes down this route. So for Pony Life to go down this route, I'm not surprised. I'm happy they're doing it, and it might be intriguing because when you go the route of 11-minute mini shorts or mini episodes within a full 22 minutes, it actually opens the door for a lot more to be done. It actually opens the door for a lot more to be done. You can be more sillier. You can have less restrictions. You can be as cartoony and toony as you want to be. So hopefully that's what Pony Life does, and hopefully it's not another Teen Titans Go, as some people are, hoping it won't be. Hoping it won't be, and I don't think it will be. So yeah, hopefully it's not that. But yeah, the Pony Life finally getting, like I said, a premiere date on June 13th. It's got two episodes. One is called Princess Pops or something like that. It involves Pinkie Pie, and then the other involves Rainbow Dash. So it's going to be really interesting how they come up with how these episodes turn out. We'll have to wait and see, as I always say. And then, of course, we have what I call the mid-pelage, the middle epilogue, if you will, um, that takes place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and Twilight's coronation that we see in a flashback in the final episode. And that is Friendship is Forever. And Friendship is Forever is officially, as far as Australia and other parts of the world, it is complete. It is done. And it was really intriguing. I'm going to give it that. I like the fact that they were able to add new material in there to go along with the clips, if you will, the memories that Starlight and Spike were gathering for the memory book. And I like that each episode, individually, up to the last one, focused on one pony and their interaction and memories with Twilight. Like, started with Rarity, went to Pinkie, it went to Rainbow, went to Applejack. Well, actually, wait a minute. It went from Rarity to Pinkie to Fluttershy. There we go. To Rainbow to Applejack. And then finally, the last one, which was expected, was Spike and Starlight, but by surprise. But I think some of us expected it to happen as well. As a matter of fact, I even brought it up a few times on the channel. We also had the princesses in there. Yes, we had Luna and Celestia involved as well. It's like, because I think the one thing that went through my mind, and I think went through a lot of other people's mind, is how can you do a book of memories, involving your friends and not involve freaking Celestia or Luna? Most important, and I say this with all due respect to Luna, but because I love Luna, I'm a huge Luna fan. But most importantly, Celestia, who was her teacher. How can you not include her? So I like the fact that was a surprise, that they added the princesses in there, and I like the fact that what they did as a whole with this was fill in the gaps of what was being presented to Twilight in the last problem. I like the fact that they didn't just, as I've said before, I like the fact that they didn't just ignore it and say, "Oh, her and Spike came up with this little book of memories. There you go," and then that's it. I like the fact that they expanded on it. I like the fact that they actually gave time to it to explain how it came about. So I liked it. I really did. I really did, and I liked the fact that the series, this Friendship is Forever thing, was primarily, it was primarily a Spike and Starlight series. So I like that. I really like that you got those two put together for this mid pelage, as I call it. Uh, the plan. The plan basically, and that was I think the noon alarm going off. The plan basically is to, for me anyway, when it comes to Friendship is Forever, the plan basically is to, uh, get the episodes, download them, and then put them onto DVD so I can watch them later on as well. But yeah, it is. But Friendship is Forever is complete, and by doing so, Friendship is Magic is complete. Animation wise, comic book wise, it is not complete yet because season 10 is still on. It's still on the verge of happening. It's going to occur due to what's been going on. It was delayed, but from what I understand, IDW Comics, along with some other comic book publishers, and even Diamond Comics, possibly is getting back up and running at the beginning of around a period of this month and into next month, a lot of comic book publishers and even distributors like Diamond Comics is going to be up and running again. So that's really good to hear. But yeah, Pony Life, like I said, getting a premiere date, gets a premiere date of June 13th. And obviously, the format is going to be two 11-minute mini episodes that take place in the span of the 22-minute runtime. And Friendship is Forever, the mid-plage that takes place between the aftermath of Ending of the End and Twilight's coronation, is complete as far as Australia and other parts of the world is concerned. And my plan is to basically download the episodes and put them onto DVD so I can catch up with them later on. So, anyway, with that said, Ed, let's get on to our seventh main topic, and that is, will 4K TVs get smaller in size? Now, this is an interesting topic because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering exactly what I'm talking about here. Well, here's the thing. We know that computer monitors, flat screen computer monitors, can have a UHD resolution of 4K. We know that. As a matter of fact, there are some that sell for around 250, if not less. So we know that monitors of that size, of let's say a 24-inch size, can produce 4K. So the question is, will that? So the question obviously is, will 4K TVs, not monitors, but TVs, get smaller in size from what they are now? Because a lot of televisions are being sold 4K wise. A lot of them are being sold at 40 inches, 45 inches, 43, 50, 55, 70, 65, even I think the highest being 75 inches. They're being sold to a lot of people, and mostly because they are 4K. But here's what's interesting. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of families and people that don't really want a 4K television. They feel that 1080p full HD television is good enough, but there are those in their family that would like a 4K TV. I mean, myself, for example, I would love to get a 4K TV in my room. I just have to move stuff around. But my solution is to get a 4K monitor, which would be great too. But with that said, a 4K monitor doesn't allow you to use your remote control to turn off the TV. You got to go to the monitor itself and turn it off at its power source. What I'm trying to get at is, when I look at a topical question like this, my honest answer is I think that 4K TVs will get smaller. It's not of asking, will they get smaller? No, it's an answer of they will. It just takes time. I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to look at the fact that 4K monitors are being sold the most. And what's going to happen is people are going to do research, and they're going to find out that one of the main reasons 4K monitors are being sold is not just for gaming, but so people can enjoy the comfort of 4K television, at their leisure, and not have to worry about having a big screen in front of them because they have something that's just right for them. So I truly believe 4K TVs will get smaller in size. It's just not a matter of how, but more along the lines of a matter of when. That's what I think. I think it's not a matter of how will they do it, it's a matter of when it will be done. And I think it'll be done very, very soon. I think it'll be done sooner than a lot of people will imagine. I think that the next time we have a CES show or whatever, which could be a while from now, that at that show they will display and make the announcement of, oh, by the way, here's 4K television in compact size, so you can enjoy it in the confines of your living space, of your small living space. If you have if you don't have the room for a big 4K television, here's one that's perfect for like a dorm room or something like that in the future. So honestly, I truly believe 4K TVs will get smaller in size. I think it's just going to take. It's just not a matter of how, but more along the lines of when they will happen. So with that said, I will get into the last topic in a moment. I gotta go check on something. Be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to let my rope and the filters coming off there. Sorry about that, guys. I had to let my dog out. She was walking around, so usually when she does that, it means she has to go to the bathroom, and she did. She did. Sorry about that. Had to take care of something there. But anyway, let's get into our last main topic here, and that is HBO Max debuts this past week. Yes. So in case you guys don't know, HBO Max was announced, I think, around last year, as an answer to Disney's release of Disney Plus, and anything you can think of that could be WB related or connected is on here, along with some original content. Like one of the more popular original contents that they got on there is the new Looney Tunes shorts, which is getting a lot of praise from the people, saying that they're good, that they stay true to the original source material. That's great and everything. Love hearing that. If you're a fan of Friends, the entire series is on there. Same with Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Um, you're a fan of DC, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Crunchyroll. They're all on there. You're a fan of Studio Ghibli. A lot of stuff is on HBO. A lot of that stuff is on HBO Max, with more to come. For example, HBO Max also has some new original material coming, like the new Jellystone series. It's got that new live action animated series coming up called Tuned Up, I believe. I think it's what it's called. Um, you got the Not So Late Night Show with Elmo, if you like that. So yeah, you there's a whole bunch of material and programming on HBO Max that's new and original and established from previous decades and years, that are under the WB banner that you can find on the streaming service. Um, let's see what else. What else? Oh yeah, and if you're a fan of a lot of HBO's original series and Cinemax's original series, you can also find it on there as well. Like if you love Game of Thrones, except for the 8th season, it's there. You like Westworld, it's there. So a lot of what you love from HBO and even Cinemax is all there, compiled with along with some other, like I said, other established series and movies and animations and stuff. And it's only for $11.99 for the first year, and then they increase it by $3. But the one thing that really got me was what they said as well later on. It wasn't until almost the week they launched that they said, "Oh, by the way, if you're already an HBO subscriber, just use your account from your cable company and you'll be fine." Really? That'd have been nice to tell us, like when you launched, you know. But apparently, from what I understand, the cable provider I have, Xfinity, they didn't get a deal locked in with HBO Max until the last minute, which would explain why, if you're looking for HBO Max on Xfinity right now, it might be there and it may not be there just yet because they're still working on it. But yeah, HBO Max debuts this past week, and I think honestly, honestly, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a success. I, I I honestly think that with more, I think with HBO mainly WB. I think with the WB and HBO that they're more willing to get a little bit more risky, to be a little bit more lenient than, let's say, Disney with Disney Plus. So I would expect more original content to come out that's going to be a little bit more edgier than what you would see elsewhere. I do expect the Animaniacs series that's going to be on Hulu to show up on HBO Max as well. So I expect a lot more to come out of this streaming service in the years to come. I really do. But it all depends. It really depends on, whether or not they're willing to shell out the money for that to happen. But yeah, HBO Max is out. I have it. I recommend you guys try and getting it. It looks good. It's got some great content, all new, original, current, present slash current from HBO itself, as well as previous decades worth of programming to check out, like sitcoms and all that. So yeah, HBO Max, it's out. I recommend getting it. It's worth the money, especially for $11.99 for the first year every month. I think it is worth it. I think it really is. But anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this edition of Topics on My Mind on the first day of June, Monday, June 1st, 2020. And especially the third day of my mini vacation, my 8-day vacation, if you will. But the first official work day off that I'm getting PTO pay for. So, again, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining me in the live chat. Really appreciate that as well. And that's all I'm going to really say, guys. So, thank you all for watching. Take care. God bless. And I am out. Peace. Peace. Be safe. And if you're going to be part of protesting, please do it in a more please make sure to do it in a peaceful manner, and God be with you. And again, be safe during these times, and I will talk to you all later. And I am out.